Hey guys, what's up? Welcome back to another video, and today I'll be doing sort of a follow-up with some FPV footage of this ultralight 5-inch build, and I do have 4-inch on it right now as I was just testing that. But before we get into that and a little bit of a 4-inch discussion about this, let me show you some flight footage that I took at a recent race. So starting off here with this first part, I was probably about 50 degrees camera tilt. This was the first time flying at FPV actually. You can see it just kind of flies kind of weird. I was able to get around the track a little bit, but it definitely was putting a lot slower than my 2207 setups, which are much heavier, and it was just kind of really weird to fly overall. As soon as I let off the throttle, it pretty much just stopped, so you need to hold on the throttle to carry any sort of speed.
Everything you're fighting for.
So next up here, I tilted the camera way up to probably 70 or 80 degrees camera tilt to really see what it could do. And it's just a completely different way of flying. As soon as you give it any throttle, it just shoots forward rather than up. So it's really kind of a weird experience flying something like that. As well as since it doesn't have the most power overall, it's kind of hard to manage since the top end doesn't do so well. I eventually do crash out here, but really definitely weird to fly.
Everything you're fighting for.
Alright, so here we are back after that FPV footage there. So I did end up trying this guy on 4-inch. As I mentioned, these are the Gemfan 4052 tri-blades. I also tried the HQ 4043 V1S props on here, and on the V1S it was just pretty underpowered. It was responsive, however, just, you know, the 2800 kV motors, these are F20 version 2 2800 kV. It was just too low and they really couldn't spin up that well, so I put on these Meteor props, and it definitely was a lot faster. However, it was less responsive now. So when I was running it on 5-inch, it worked pretty well, but it was super floaty, and then on 4-inch, it's less floaty, but it's way less powerful. So it's kind of a weird trade-off in this build here. In terms of the frame holding up, I did crash it a few times, once pretty hard into some asphalt. Hopefully you can see the bottom motor sort of protector here, this little stub has got ground up, but no damage to anything, so it's actually a lot more durable than I was expecting for how light of a frame it is. It's a 30-gram frame, so that's pretty nice. And then I had no problems getting 2 to 3 minutes of runtime on this in terms of efficiency, running 850 4S and 1000 4S. But bringing sort of to the end of this little quick update video here, I don't really think there's much point to building something like this. At first it was kind of fun, you know, just flying it around, but if I fly it back to back with one of my 2207 setups, it's just really underwhelming. There's not really much point. It does turn really quickly, but if you go hard on the throttle with a 2207 or a equally powerful quad, it's going to turn pretty much just as hard as an ultralight build like this. It just makes it really hard to fly around the track because it's just so light. I really don't see any advantage to it, and it's not much cheaper at all. I mean, it is a little bit cheaper, but I don't think it's worth anybody's time to pursue something like this. But it definitely was a fun experiment for me to try out with this just stuff. But in terms of the electronics, the camera and the flight controller stack, that all works just fine. I just don't recommend running tiny motors on a 5-inch prop or even heavy 4-inch props like this. And these are 1408 2800 kV motors, and I know a lot of people are going to be like, run the Brother Hobby Avenger 1507, I believe that's what they are, 3500 kV. But I really don't think going up to that or even a 1606 is going to help much for something just this small to spin a 5-inch prop. It's just too much prop for it. So I'd say if you are looking to go ultra light, you probably want something about like the floss motors are actually probably really good for this. They're 2204, 3022 kV. So pair that with a light, say 5043 tri-blade. I think you'd have a really nice setup. Probably coming closer to about 200 grams there instead of 150 like this. But I think that would give you a much, much nicer flying experience overall. So yeah, that's going to bring us to the end of the video. There will be links down below to the parts if you're interested, as well as the line of sight and build videos I did for this. Thanks for watching. Please subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.